So let's talk about artillery in the Shot and Shell series. Appropriate for the period, artillery is pretty powerful. For one thing, artillery is going to attack potentially twice within a single impulse. Once during the fire phase and once during the close combat phase, provided someone's next to them, for close combat. Now, if they're firing on someone in the fire phase that's next to them, they're going to use the close combat results table, which is far deadlier. So getting close to artillery is kind of a risky proposition. It's also difficult to do because, as a general rule, you cannot move next to artillery unless you move only a single hex or unless you charge the artillery, in which case you can move more than one hex to come next to the artillery. Now, the problem with charging artillery, of course, is they're going to fire on you first using the close combat results table, which can very easily disrupt you or make the charge maybe not a great idea anymore. So that's kind of how artillery works in general. Now, there are a couple of special rules on top of that make them a little more dangerous. One is called defensive artillery. So the way defensive artillery works is that when a side is designated as having defensive artillery, that side gets to activate the artillery every time they have an activation. So if I'm activating, one of these purple guys, I can shoot with the blue guy. Activating one of the blue guys, I can shoot with the blue guy. Every turn I get to shoot with this guy. So being next to artillery, being in range of artillery, just sitting there picking your nose, not a great idea. It's extremely dangerous. The other thing about artillery is that they're always going to roll 2 dice when defending, which makes them a lot harder to dislodge and remove, especially because most of them are going to be 2-step units. We'll have some 1-step artillery now and then, but generally they're 2-step units, so you're going to have 2 very dangerous attacks you have to make to get rid of that artillery and get them out of your way there. So that's just a little bit about the artillery and how they work. Oh, I should also mention that we also have a rule called inherent artillery. So if you have folks like our Confederate units here that are going to have artillery assigned to each brigade, rather than represent that with a artillery counter for the division, which doesn't really reflect the way it was done historically, or rather represent that with a specific, low power artillery counter for every brigade, what we have instead is a bonus to the fire attack for that brigade. So it makes it easier for them to fire on other units. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about artillery, so we'll talk to you guys later.